Hello, everybody. Oh, whoops. I think I said hello too quickly. Hello, everybody. I think you're probably getting the advertisement right now. I was so close, so close. 2 minutes late. 2 minutes late. Sorry, I had to get Mr. King Arthur and Rocket some water. King Arthur's coming up the stairs right now here, so I have to step out of frame for a second. If you don't mind me, I have to help the king to his throne. Can I pick you up, my love? Oh, my God, my sweet baby. Angel. Oh, gotcha. Oh, you okay? You okay? Look at him. Look at this baby. You're so sweet. Okay, I'm going to put you on the bed. I'm sorry, did I hurt your little tummy? Here, hold on. Let me put the big pillow down for you. Big pillow down for baby Arthur. There you go. Got that. You got your bed down. Let me move the remote. There you go, my sweet baby. I love you. Glad to see you. All right, sorry about that, everybody. When the king calls, I answer. I had a feeling. He was sitting on the bed downstairs, so I didn't think he'd come up, but I love you. I love him. This evening, myself, I will be drinking a Spindrift sparkling water and real squeezed fruit unsweetened. Tonight it's blood orange tangerine. I met some friends for a baseline tap house day. They still have that Imperial IPA that's over there that's pretty good. But earlier today for work, we went to Universal Studios for a dining review, and Craig likes the word mukbang. I mean, that kind of is what it is. We did basically like a little bit of a mukbang video, and I am like so full right now, and my stomach hurts. And I'm not saying it's food poisoning. I'm just saying my stomach is upset a little bit, and I am just like, ugh. So I was, rather than have another beer or a mixed drink or anything like that, we're just going to do a little bit of the bubbly. Honestly, I should have grabbed a ginger ale because my tummy's a little bit, I'm Winnie the Poohing. It's not Winnie the Poohing. I just realized what that sounded like. I meant like my tummy is rumbly. I'm not pooing myself. Also, when I wear the undershirts under here, the mic pulls it down and it's like a little bit of a peep show. It's like Edward Cullen over here. So pale. Oh, dropped the magnet. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I'm a little flustered. It's also like 80 degrees out today. It is so friggin' hot. It is unnatural here in Orlando. It was like almost 80, and I'm like, come on, guys. Come on. I'm not saying it has to be like 30 degrees, which I would enjoy. I'm just saying it's winter. Can we keep it under 80? Can we keep it in our pants? Please. Come on, Florida. But Ross is in the chat over here, who's on his way to the airport. It was Ross and Lana. I always want to say Ross and Lana from Atlanta. They weren't from Atlanta. From Chicago, from the Midwest. Thank you. I'm getting a compliment on the shirt. This is Roosevelt's. This is the Trapper Keeper collection. So you may recognize it if you were a child of the 90s at some point, and this was definitely one of my favorite designs. But because I was doing like Universal and Disney, and then I was thinking I was doing another shopping video, I was like, well, I need something, because I was like, I don't have any Seuss shirts. So I was like, I need something I can wear at both. And I was like, I haven't worn the shirt in like, I don't know, like a year in a while. And you know what? Every time I wear this shirt is one of those shirts where you like put on and I feel like you feel a little better about yourself because you're like, this is such like a bright, like loud shirt. And some people I don't think get it, but I get so many compliments on this shirt specifically. And I don't even think people know it's like the Trapper Keeper design, even though it has that like Trapper Keeper thing right here. But I'll be like, oh yeah, Trapper Keeper. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, I have that, I think. And so this is one of those shirts where like, sometimes you have a shirt and you're like, that's a magic shirt. This is one of those where it's like, there's just really, really nice, like today I got a couple of compliments, both parks. People are just like, hey, I like that shirt. And I was like, oh, it's cool that like people are saying they like a shirt and it's not even a Disney shirt, right? So, oh, Dr. Cindy Mayer's getting 2 feet of snow. Listen, here's the thing. I have a romanticism about snow, and I know it's one of those things like, oh, easier. You know, I'd just like to point out, Artie has gone back downstairs, because this is what he does. He goes up and down. But, like, I do feel like nowadays, like, having a job, you know, where maybe sometimes I can be like, I'm not going to get on the road. you know, that's different. You know, I don't have to travel in it, like, so I feel differently about it. But for me, it's like, I hate the heat. I just do not like the heat. I hate how I feel. I hate being like soaking wet all the time. I hate getting sunburned. I'm not, it's one of those where I've had enough of it for my whole life. So I'm like, I know the grass is always greener. So like, I know people be like, better than snow. And I was like, I don't think so. Cause I can't make sweat angels. I can't make sweatmen. You know, I can't make things out of snow. No. No, but in all seriousness, I know that blizzards and nor'easters and all that sort of stuff can be very challenging and trying, you know, and difficult. So the same way that hurricanes can be for us. And so, you know, I don't mean to make light of weather that can be very difficult for people, especially those who, you know, people with mobility issues and things like that. I mean, even if you don't have mobility issues and you are somebody who's got perfect balance, it's still one of those things where I'm like, you're going to slip on that ice at some point. So it can be a struggle for sure. No question. But I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you're all off to a good week. See, I'm doing better. We started 8:32 tonight, so we were close to the 8:30. I'd like to keep it like, I think it's always going to kind of be, I'd love it to be like 8:30 to 8:45. And the only reason I'm doing like 8:30 is because my friends Brian and TJ, Brian Trex on pretty much all social media, the guy who they do a lot of food stuff, but they do also do experiences and things like that. They started doing a YouTube show, the two of them and their friend, and they do a good job and they have good conversations. So I'm like trying not to be like step on anybody's toes or anything like that, you know, like I want it to be fun for everybody. But I started doing Monday first, so back up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. No, because they tune in and I try to watch theirs. I'll actually put theirs on while I'm setting up or I'm, you know, getting ready or anything like that. And I feel like they do. They've got a pretty good. They got a pretty classy setup over there. Okay, because they Skype in. You know, they have like. I don't know the word. What am I looking for? Like mats or like you know, like graphics and things like that and everything. And so they're pretty good. And they, you know what, if you ever need to know where to eat anywhere in like Central Florida, they're the guys to ask. You know, somewhere to get a drink, somewhere to eat, they're the people to go to. So we've been doing some fun stuff together. So we'll see that catch up, you know, but Brian was also kind enough to let me use his house to do a drink video with me. And then on, I think we'll do some more fun stuff together. So stay tuned for that. But they are great. And so that's why I was like, I'll do 8:30. They start at 8 and sometimes their things are like about 45 minutes. So it's like as they're winding down, I'm winding up. So I feel like it would be a nice like pass off, you know, it's like a bump set spike. We're the must see TV Monday. But no, you know, I don't even know if they'll end up seeing this, and I'm definitely not going to tell them I rambled on about them for like 10 minutes. But I did actually go to their house last night for the Super Bowl, where Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team won. I'm just playing. Congratulations to the Chiefs. I had no, hand in the game. I had no, whatever, investment in this game, really. I'm not, for me, football is just one of those, I watch the Super Bowl every year. It was like when we were growing up, my brother got really invested in football. I got really invested in like soccer. So that was our like, we each had the one that we didn't do. Like he didn't play soccer and I didn't play football. But then we both played like baseball. I love baseball. Baseball, I played for like 10 years. And any day of the week, somebody wants to go to a baseball game, I'm like, let's go to a baseball game. Because that's going to be my new thing. Wherever I'm traveling, I want to try and go to a baseball game. So like in Milwaukee, I'm hoping I'll be able to go to one in like, I think they're playing by July, right? Don't they start? They start by then. So I've done Angel Stadium. I did Dodger Stadium. I haven't been to Fenway in like years and years and years, but I want to do the Brewers and then, well, I'd like to go back to Fenway. I feel like there was another place I was gonna like that's on my radar to maybe go, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll go there. But anyway, so for me, I don't mean to underplay. I don't mean to make the joke about Taylor Swift's boyfriend, but I know there are many people that worked for much of their lives and most of their professional careers to get there. So I say congratulations, because It is the highest feat of their for them, and so that's really cool. I think, are they going to come here? Will Taylor Swift be here? But no, seriously. My thing with Taylor Swift and football is kind of like, you know what? Whatever gets younger people or a different demographic invested in your thing, that is like, who cares? It's just one of those things where it's like more eyes on it. It's the whole thing where it was like, my favorite band is Muse, which is like a British band, and the author of Twilight, a lot of scenes in Twilight were inspired by specific songs from their discography, and I know it brought a lot of attention to their music, which made me happy because I think they are just like one of the best bands ever. And so so I think it's cool, but they were also like, well, we don't want to be known as the Twilight Band. And rightfully so. But yeah, you know, I didn't think of Wrigley, but I guess because I am that close to Chicago a lot, maybe I should put that on the radar. And Jennifer, this originally was supposed to get poured into a Pizza Hut, a red Pizza Hut cup, but I used them all for breakfast. I used my last clean one for breakfast, so. Oh my gosh. Okay, the Snack Attack episode came out. I didn't watch it yet, but it was a lot of fun to film for work. It was me, Craig, and Hannah when we had done our Sasagula, which is just, I hate saying that word, but we did our Sasagula dining review. I was like, well, the Scat Cat Club, I was like, we should go over here because they offer beignets and it's like a completely different menu and a different thing, and I was like, we haven't been doing these like shorter videos or these like snack videos, because I was like, we keep doing sit down or table service or stuff like that, and I was like, so there are these things that for me as a guest, like going to theme parks, like these are the things I care about, like the quick service stuff, you know, because I'm going to do that more often than the sit down. And so I was like, let's do this. And he was like, okay, whatever, we'll do it. And Hannah came up with the Snack Attack name, and then it actually ended up being a lot of fun. And if you haven't watched that video, it's over on my work channel, which is the Diz Unlimited. You can check that out, because there was boozy beignets. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you. Boozy beignets, go over there. It was a lot of fun. So I gotta check it out. So, because I haven't watched the edited video yet. Oh, Cincinnati Reds and Kings Island. Oh, Oren Ishi is saying, just finished pricing out a Universal Orlando vacation and I can't pull the trigger on it. Just cannot. It's outrageous for a family of 4. I'm telling you, it's expensive down here. It is pricey. If you want to share, I'm just curious, but you know, there's a couple of money-saving tips and tricks that we have that we talk about for work, but it is one of those things where I don't know. It's like my friends. They have 3 boys, and they came down last year to do their. Was it last April or was it the April before? It was either that. It was either last year or it was the April before. So it was either 23 or 22. But they were coming down because it was their canceled like 2020 vacation, and they were like, yeah, this is probably the last time we're going to come down for a long time, because they were like, you know, because the boys are getting a little bit older and they're right in that in-between stage where it's going to be a little harder to wrangle them and all this. Not that they don't like it, but they were like, they're like, if this vacation had not been the not repurposed, like the moved over one, they're like, we wouldn't be able to afford this one. This one would be like out of the price range at that point. So I see it. I see it every day. I think about it because my Disneyland annual pass is like coming up for renewal at the end of April. And it is exactly what happened when I used to have one. I mean, I've had one pretty much every year that I've been able to have one, except for like 1 year. Since like 2015, I got one in 2016 and I had one until it was gone. And then they came back, and I got one like 6 months after that. But then the price from like that first one to this new one, like I want to say the pass that I have is now like $2,000 again. And I remember the first time I had a Disneyland annual pass, it was a Walt Disney World. It was a coast-to-coast annual pass, and it was $1,200. And I'm like, I talk about it like, oh, I remember when. I mean, I guess it was like 8 years ago, but it's insane to me that pass, like, I think the last time I renewed it before it went away, it was like $2,200. And that would have been like 2019. And so that pass, the fact that that pass, one, it doesn't really exist unless you're a Club 33 member now. And then you can't get that pass unless, I mean, so now that is their top tier pass is that price. And it's like, it's not even 4 years. And I can't believe like the prices have gone up that much. Because I remember when I was little. But when I was little, it used to be a thing where it would like be like every one of us had to collect not however you made the money, but it was like each kid had envelopes on my grandparents' dresser, and we used to save up money by like recycling soda bottles. That was my thing. Recycling soda bottles. I'd go through the couch cushions, all that sort of stuff. I'd wash cars. Everybody had to save $50. And if you had that $50, that was like your souvenir money sort of a thing. But I remember, like, I think the ticket to a park when I was a little kid was only like $45, maybe like $50. And then I started working at Walt Disney World in 2007, and it was still not that much more. It was like $65 or $70 for like a park ticket. And then I remember, and now I think like a one park ticket is, I mean, it's over $100, but it's one of those where it's like the jump between then and now is such a shorter amount of time than the jump from like opening day price to $50 or something like that. It's insane. So I don't know how people do it. Oh my God, the chat was frozen. I had no idea. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through. I've been trying to do it. Yeah, sorry. The dogs are barking a lot. It's my curse. Anytime I do any sort of recording or anything like that, they're very vocal dogs. They got a lot to say. How is the new Diz Unlimited Studio working out? I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow on the show, and our like after show that we do over there. So you'll hear some more about that. It's nice to have a place to work, though. You couldn't get in on the Instagram link. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me double check that. Sorry about that. Sorry to be this guy too. Oops. Okay. It's working on my end, so it just might be like a glitch, like an area glitch. It could be depending on where you are. That happens sometimes and stuff. So Oh, Mardi Gras parade at Port Orleans. I will have to see that. Sam saying, I'm shocked work doesn't pay for some or all of your WW. My job does pay for my Walt Disney World and my Universal Orlando passes because of my line of work. Like, I need it. I don't know how it's going to work, so it's not for me to speak of. They have sometimes paid for the Disneyland pass, not always, but since it's a place like I like to vacation, it's one of those where I've asked myself when I got it last time where I was like, are you going to use this for this amount of time, or something like that. So it's like that. Nathaniel is asking, any video games you've been playing? Have you seen the new Indiana Jones trailer? I'm so excited for that game. Yeah, the Indiana Jones game looks interesting. It's weird because I think for the last couple of games, like, I don't play like a ton of video games that aren't like classic ones. And so I love Spider-Man 2. I finished, and that game was great. Loved it. The Star Wars Jedi, the games are great. The Survivor and oh my God, what's the first one called? Star Wars Fallen Order and Survivor, and those are both great. So and then I had started playing, and I'm not even halfway through. I think I'm like a quarter way through the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which was fun. It's definitely not. I don't like it as much as I like those other two. Those other two are definitely some of the best games like I've ever played. So I have that. I have I did end up. Did I get another game? There's like a Ragnarok God of War. I got a code for that, I think. I don't have a physical copy. It's a digital copy. So I thought about playing that. I did end up getting the Harry Potter game for Christmas, but I haven't opened it to play it yet. But there is also a Star Trek game that I'm interested in, but it's like in my Amazon wish list because I was like, I don't want to pull the trigger on this because I don't want to like have a stack of video games I haven't played yet. So like I'm sure I talked about this before, and I know other people do it, but I like to put things in a wish list because it's really like I have like so many different Amazon Amazon lists, because for me it's like, here's my equipment wish list, here's my just like general me wish list, but here's like my movie list, here's my thing, and it's how I monitor sales. So I keep one public because one of those is for like, if like somebody's like, I want to give Ryno a gift and I don't know what to think of. I was like, that's the easy place to go. It's like a family, like, people that are just kind of like, oh, I want to do a little whatever. So like that's one's like where I'm like, okay, there's a couple of things in there. But I do like the other ones where I'm kind of just like curious and I'm watching them doing the research. I'm like, those are in the private ones. But but there was apparently a Star Trek game that came out, but I have not seen or heard anything about it since it came out. So I don't know that that's a good sign. I'm trying to like peek over because I have like the little stack. I had gotten oh my gosh, what is it called? Avengers game, but I hadn't heard very good things about that. I got that super cheap, but that was for my PS4, and I didn't end up playing that one yet. And then, I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's all I have. That's all I'm like, I'm going to have to do. I'll do God of War because I have heard great things about that. It's hard because I'm one of those, I'm a franchise baby. I like to get invested in the games of things I know, so that's why I like Guardians, Spider-Man, Star Wars, like those things appeal to me. It's kind of crazy. Didn't Disney just buy like $1.8 billion worth of investment in one of the video game companies? And I'm kind of like, this is wild. I also would like to say I called it out on one of my work shows. I was like, Disney just loves to buy other studios and that becomes their thing. Lo and behold, here we are. So I'm just saying. I'm over here just saying it. But hold on one sec. I see your things. My mouse is on my other screen for some reason. Okay, because I have a monitor right here. I just want to check my sound levels. Keep looking like they're dropping. That's why I'm like, my like computer's been being weird with microphones lately. Like one was like blowing out the microphone the other day, and it's like the same exact settings, and then it's like too low. So you guys just tell me if it's too low, too loud, whatever, and I can adjust as we go too. So don't always feel free to chime in on that sort of stuff here. But okay, good things about God of War in the chat here. Oh gosh, Brian Riffle is saying the God of War games are a lot of fun. Quite a few you got to play before Ragnarok. I didn't know there was more. A lot. Jeez. Oh my gosh, Jennifer says she once spent 30 plus days at a park. They've priced me out for now. Only go once, maybe twice. I know, that's the thing. That's what it really has become. Lauren Porter, excuse me. Sorry, not reading that correctly. Hi all, happy I could actually catch one of these lives. A lot of movie trailers were shown during the Super Bowl last night. Any new movies looking forward to seeing? Okay. I feel like for me, once I'm the next movie that I am most excited about coming out, and definitely like probably most excited movie about coming out this year is Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Do I love the name of it? No, but I am just so excited. And I was watching, if you know the YouTube channel Park Stop, Alicia Stellar does some phenomenal work over there. And they put out a video today that was about the potential that they're saying, the rumor right now is that Universal has relicensed Ghostbusters. So that apparently a Cadillac was purchased. I had heard about this a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was just for like, I thought it was how they still have the DeLorean and the train from Back to the Future 3 out for display. I thought maybe they're going to add an X-01 like replica somewhere for photo ops or something like that, okay? But apparently in this Park Stop video, they were talking about the rumor about there's a new parade. I forgot the name of it. It's like Universal. I mean, we'll talk about it on one of my work shows, I'm sure. But I'm just excited because they were saying that it's gonna have like an ode to classic movies like E.T., Jaws, Back to the Future, and Ghostbusters was one of those opening day attractions. Like I remember being a little kid and watching this show and being like, it's so cool. And so they're saying it could be that. They were saying in this video that it could be in the new Nighttime Lagoon show and that it could possibly be a Halloween Horror Nights house. Now, I've tried to ask myself, like, if any of those are true, I think I want it to be a Halloween Horror Nights house the most. Although it would be cool to see other stuff, but I don't think we'll ever get a show again, but it would be cool. I don't want to talk about the parks too much. Let's talk about other stuff. I will say the Wicked trailer looked wicked good. It's weird they're splitting that movie in two. But here's the thing is that I've always maintained, because I've been fortunate enough to see it when it came to Orlando. I think I saw it a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times maybe. It's a great show. Based on a book, by McGuire is the last name. I cannot remember the man's first name. Gregory McGuire. And the musical, the Broadway show, I felt like anybody who's seen that, like the first act is a solid, like kind of, like here we are, the story, very fluid, very moving forward in time at a regular incremental pace. The second act is kind of like it jumps from a thing to here to here. It's like a bit of a time later. It is, and it's a fraction of the time of the first act. And so it's one of those things where I was like, when they make this a movie, and I remember thinking this while I'm watching it, because I'm like, they're going to make this into a movie. I was like, they are going to have to do some work on the second act, because it works fine for the play. Like, there's nothing wrong with it for the play, but it does not work as a movie, because one, the sheer amount of stuff that's happening, like kind of off stage, but also like it's very referentially heavy to the movie at that point. But that's also, they can do that easier in the play version than they could in a movie version, where I'm like, in a movie, I think you'd have to show some more stuff. So it'll be interesting. And I have a feeling maybe they'll end up adding music or something like that. But either way, that looked, I don't know what I expected, but it looks pretty crazy. And I'm pretty excited for it. I did not know Jeff Goldblum was playing the Wizard. So I think that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that. Dog's good. Deadpool 3, obviously I'm super excited for that. Here's the thing. I feel like with all the like kind of, not spoilers, but the rumors around the movie and everything, I felt like the trailer they showed was incredibly tame. Well, they didn't even show the trailer. They were just like, it's online now. I mean, he says the F word in it once, which was like, okay. So I'm wondering if he'll say it like twice, because in PG-13 movies, I think you can do it once or twice before it goes to rated R. And if we do know, Disney has a movie in their Marvel Cinematic Universe that already has said the F word, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, says it to Gamora when they're trying to get in the car. But I am very much looking forward to Deadpool 3. I like both of those movies. Are a good time. I was actually thinking I need to rewatch the second one, because I definitely haven't seen that in like a really long time. The first one I like watched over and over and over again. But I want to watch those, so I'm like excited for Ghostbusters. I'm excited for Deadpool 3. Wicked looks good. And let me see. I am looking forward to Dune. I saw that Dune, I think, is either re-released right now or is going to be re-released like this weekend or something like that. And I'm like, I'm thinking about doing that again, because I haven't actually watched it since the movie theater. I own the movie, but it's just one of those movies where I remember being worried that it was, because it's a very, I don't know if the word is exposition, but like it's like dense, the sort of like mythology and the lore to it. And so I was worried like, oh, it's going to be off-putting or difficult to follow. But the way that like Villanueva, the director, and I probably said his name wrong, Dennis Villanueva, he is, the way he told the story was like, it made it very easy to follow. And so I remember watching the movie and being like, wow, that was good. And I've just heard nothing but good things about the second one. So that's where I'm like, I'm excited for that. So, oh, excuse me. I don't mean to yawn. Good Lord, I hate when people audibly yawn. I don't know why. It like bugs my auditory Just scrolling through here. I do want to see that movie, The Fall Guy, with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, and it's got my husband in it. It's got my husband. Where is he? Wazumbaku. But yeah, I who directed that movie? Actually, I feel like it's somebody. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say. Oh, is it based on the show? I don't think I knew that. Okay, The Fall Guy, Emily Blunt, Ryan Gosling, David Leck directed it. Oh my gosh, I did not know that Hannah Waddingham was in it. And then I saw Aaron Taylor Johnson in the thing. Oh, Teresa Palmer, I do like her. Stephanie Sue, I like her. Oh, it's got to be based on the show then, because Lee Majors is also in this. Obviously, my husband Winston Duke is in this. Okay, I don't want to look anymore. Drew Pearce also wrote it. I believe he wrote Cabin in the Woods. Am I incorrect? Iron Man 3, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation story by... No, okay. He didn't... I don't think he did. He wrote Hobbs and Shaw, Hotel Artemis, Rogue Nation, story. He didn't... Christopher McGuire wrote that script. Iron Man 3, screenplay by... I like Iron Man 3. Oh, he hasn't actually... Oh, I'm thinking of Drew Goddard, too. Sorry, wrong person. But the director, David... I think he directed Hobbs and Shaw. The first John Wick movie. So that's where you're like, you know that action's going to be solid in it. Bullet Train also was really good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. That was a lot of fun. Oh, he directed Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, he was an uncredited director on Deadpool 1. I think he was the stunt coordinator because Chad Stahelski directed the John Wick films. Anyway, sorry. I don't know. You have to read that. Read that for yourself. I don't know. Okay. How did we feel about Usher's performance, I think? I don't know. For me, I saw a gamut of people that were like best Super Bowl performance in like 7 years, and I saw people who were like disappointed. I was a little like lukewarm on it, where it wasn't bad. It just was one of those where I was like, I don't know. I wasn't super jazzed up. It's hard. I just spit everywhere. It is hard when we've like in our recent life right here have had like amazing performances by like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, like these sort of, I'm not saying that Usher doesn't have a place in music history and things like that, but it's hard when you're like these living legends. Like they're on another level of just like, and I know that it can't always be that, but it was one of those where I was like, it wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it. I just was kind of like, I don't know. And I know the critique last year was they were like, well, Rihanna didn't really do anything. And I'm like, I disagree. She flew on her platforms. You know what? Every song she sang, I was like, this woman is hit after hit after hit. So, Planet of the Apes. That's another one in here. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Okay. So Joe is bringing that up. He's saying, is he the only one excited for Planet of the Apes? And I have friends who were like, oh, I'm not, I just fell off or whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's weird to hear I fell off because I feel like those movies, every one of those movies are fantastic. Those three, because it's three, yeah. And I thought that first one was incredible, and then I was like, there's no way they're going to be able to top these with these other two. And then they were both so good that I'm just like, so I'm trying to have faith in this. But I was also like, I thought we were done because that was the story of Caesar. And now this is like the new story. And we're much closer now to where it actually gets to Planet of the Apes. But I'm like, is this a cash grab or is there an actual plotted out story here that's worth watching? That's my only thing with that. So, I don't know. I am excited for it though, and I will see it. And that newer trailer that came out, that for sure had me even more excited. What a glorious day. I forget what he says, but I love a soundbite. Oh, the new Quiet Place movie looks good too. Those movies, those first two are like so good. And come on, this new one, I know it's not John Krasinski. I forget who is directing it. Let's look that up now too. We're talking movies tonight. Let's look it up. Sorry, I just put this like gummy. It's like a digestive gummy. I'm like, hopefully it'll help my tummy. It's got, okay, I don't know how to spell the word quiet. That's an issue. All right, so Joseph Quinn, Eddie, Stranger Things. Jimon Hansu, Digimon Hansu. I never know how to say his name correctly, but I love every time that man is in a movie. That movie is elevated to the next level. He's phenomenal. Lupita Nyong'o. Oh, I like Alex Wolff too. Jumanji. Who is this director though? Michael Sarnowski. Oh, he directed Pig. So that's his like big one. Okay. Well, I think it looks cool. Oh yeah, new Beyonce music too. Good point. How's the weather in Florida? Well, today it was absurd. It was like 80 degrees. But tomorrow, let's look at the weather. Oh God, it's starting to rain right now. So that's going to cool it down. But tomorrow, so today was a high of 84 degrees. Jesus. Tomorrow is 70, which is much more manageable. Wednesday is 70. And then Thursday, Friday, it's 76, 75. And then Saturday, it's 69, 55 on Sunday. Yes. Heck yes. Monday is 62. Tuesday, 69. The sexiest of numbers. Sexiest of weather. And then Wednesday, 73. Okay, we got ourselves a solid week. Oh, no, wait. No, wait, but... Okay, no, that's fine. I'm going to Austin next weekend. Not like this coming weekend, but next weekend. And I was like, don't you be hot weather while I'm gone. Don't you waste my cold weather while I'm not here. And right now, their highest degree day is like, well, next Tuesday and Wednesday. You gotta be kidding me. It's gonna be a heat wave while I'm there. Next Tuesday and Wednesday, it's 77 and 76. But every day between now and then doesn't get over 70 degrees. In a bunch of days, it's like in the 50s. Man, I'm going to be so sad if it's like 80 degrees while I'm there. I'd love to go vacationing in the cold weather. Craig is watching Maestro right now. It says 15 minutes in Maestro. Is the whole thing like badly acted, like on 1940s, 50s movies? I didn't really like Maestro. Oh, wait, orange. Hold on, you told me how to pronounce your name. Scrolling up. I don't know where it is. Okay. Hold on, we're catching up to the chat. Okay, so Patrick is saying Fall Guy is a show. Okay, that's cool. Man, I'm gonna watch that show then. You know what show? I already told you guys. I'm gonna start watching Quantum Leap again because I want to watch the new show, but I was like, I'm gonna watch all the old show because I know I haven't seen every episode of the old show. I just used to watch it when I'd get off the bus for school at my grandparents' house. It would be on like Sci-Fi in the afternoon. You know, they'd show like old Star Trek or something, and then I got really into Quantum Leap for a little bit. But it was like random episodes. It was never in order. So I never saw when there was like the Evil Leaper or, so I'm like, I gotta watch it. Love me some Scott Bakula. So I'm going to watch that. But I feel like there was another. Oh, I'm almost done. I'm almost caught up. Not caught up. I've seen the Shooty Got Why. I've seen the David Tennant specials. I am almost done with the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who. I'm on the last season with the Flux right now. I'm on like the second episode in. I think there's only 6 episodes in that season too. And then maybe a special or 2 or something like that. So it's coming to a close. I'm a little bummed out because it's kind of like once you get in that groove of Doctor Who, it's kind of like, no, I have no new stuff until like April or May. I forget what they said, but anyway. Oh, okay. Danielle is correct. The skating part was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. Okay, and Trey is saying way too K-Doc, but it's hard to go wrong with that catalog of music. Not to mention the Alicia wrong keys of it all. I feel bad. I didn't hear it in the moment, but I saw the clip playback and I was like, oh, her voice cracked at the beginning. I was like, oh no, poor girl. Oh, the Prince halftime show. That was pretty good too. I remember that. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, I don't like this halftime show. It was just one of those where I was like, It felt like a pick. You know, I kind of felt the same way sometimes when it was like, I don't know if it was the Rolling Stones or it was Paul McCartney, and I get that they're like musical legends, but it was one of those where I was like, I guess what I like, okay, so I'm trying to think about it now. I guess what I like from the halftime show, I think, is when it's like a superstar, and not to say that those people aren't superstars, but of a concert where you're like, this is the only way I'm going to see this concert televised, right? So you're getting like a glimpse. Like for me, it was like when Lady Gaga did it, was like a glimpse into that Lady Gaga concert. Like, because I'm never going to be able to afford a Lady Gaga concert. And then Beyonce was just like, oh, wow, Beyonce. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like, it was one of those things where you're like, oh, it's like a preview of that sort of thing. And I guess I just never thought about Usher like touring or being on tour or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't strike me as somebody who would like to do that either way, but Oh, Brian and TJ are in here, so now we can say all the bad things I said about them at the beginning of the show. They tuned in, they missed it all. It's too bad. But I will say this: you know what was cool? I thought about Usher is just one of those things where I was like, man, I forgot. It's just one of those like Usher can dance, and you're just like, and that he was going. I don't know. It was very. He has definitely got like a reminiscent of like Michael Jackson. I feel like in that way. I mean, clearly, very like inspired by that. He must be. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not talented at all. I'm not saying anything. It's just one of those where I think that's for me is I like them best when they're people where for me I was like, okay, now I got to see a little piece of that concert I always wanted to see. So that's where I'm like, okay, Oh, that looks interesting. The Imaginary Friend movie, the John Krasinski movie. Oh, snowstorm and mass tomorrow. Got a big call. Make sure people are checking on my grandparents. Hope you guys stay safe, Jay. My friend Nicole just texted me too. She actually was like, oh, we're praying for a snow day tomorrow. That's the hardest part of it all. I guess when you have to go somewhere, you're like, just don't. I do not miss people like begrudgingly having you on the roads and that sort of stuff. That's chaos. And then the people who are like shopping and stuff, come on, you're terrible too. I do want to see the whole holdovers, Mark. Yeah, because that's nominated for Best Picture, and that I think they are. I want to say AMC down here has been playing some of the movies. So I'm like, I gotta double check on that this week. I gotta see if there's one I can come because the Oscars are just a month away. March 10th, right? I have not watched Capote versus the Swans yet. I didn't actually realize it started until like yesterday, I think. I mean, who's reminding me? I watch it. I'm not as invested in that because I don't really know anything about Truman Capote or the Swans or anything like that. And so, like, it's not like I knew a lot about Bette Davis and who's No More Wire Hangers. It's not like their feud was so famous, and it was about like, and for me, their feud was about like movies and the business, so I was like so much more invested in that one. Whereas like this one, I'm like, I don't know who these people are. I don't care. Oh yeah, we that new Beyonce music, new Beyonce. Samantha, Lady Gaga did do a halftime show one year. Remember, she jumped off the roof, and we were like, she ended it all. So there was a she did a whole thing like she had the piano out. I feel like I remember that. Oh, Kim, you have got to watch Oppenheimer. Betty Crawford, thank you. Rebecca wins the award. Um, not Betty Crawford, Betty Davis, Joan Crawford, Rebecca. How dare you? You lose the award. No, Mark said it first, anyways. Or Trey. Sorry, now I'm reading. It came in so fast. It was the first one I saw. Yes. So, Oppenheimer for sure. Actually, you know what? Let me check right now. I'm gonna go into my AMC app. I'm not saying I'm gonna go. I'm just curious to see what we got playing this week. I started listening to. I just randomly wanted to give it a try. Oh, and I wanted to talk about this too because I saw Argyle. Um, uh, Bowen Yang's podcast with Matt Rogers, is that it? And Tina Fey is in this episode, and they're talking about how they're all like big theme park people. Like, I didn't realize that Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers, like, they love Disney, but Tina Fey loves Disney. And they were talking about the Epic Universe announcements. We're like, oh, how do we feel about it? You know, she's like, well, I'm going to go, obviously. And so it's so wild to me to hear these people where I'm like, they're just like us. They just like stuff like us. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Okay, so let me say, I saw Argyle, and that movie was interesting. So I like Matthew Vaughn. I think he directed one of the best X-Men movies, which is X-Men First Class. I think he's got a very unique style that's a very like kind of poppy, like a little exaggerated, sort of saturated over the top, and he definitely has that here. I felt like when I was watching it, so there's this feeling or this impression I get, which isn't true, but I do have this impression where it's like, oh, it's made for a streaming service, and I always feel like, well, then it's not as which can be both good and bad because you kind of think, well, the creatives had more control over it, right? But also sometimes, like they told us in school, a lot of times they were like, whoever is directing your movie or who's ever shooting the movie, they shouldn't be editing the movie because there has to be a point where you need to get um, a more subjective view and take a step back to be able to do that. So you can't be so close to everything, sometimes. And Argyle feels to me like, not that it wasn't edited, but it was kind of like they went to Matthew Vaughn and were like, hey man, we love your stuff. Would you like to make a movie for us? Do you have anything like ready to go? And he was like, yeah. And like opened his drawer and there was Argyle. And it was kind of like, he was like, yeah, I guess I could make this movie. So it didn't feel like it didn't feel like all in. Like, I feel like the first Kingsman movie feels kind of all in. And I feel that in X-Men First Class. And, and so I didn't not enjoy it. I just feel like because I watched so many movies. So there's twists in the movies, and there are major twists in this movie. And so that's like a minor spoiler telling you there's a twist. But, I think it's even in the poster where it's like, don't let the cat out of the bag. I think if you are paying attention, you've seen a million movies, I think you'll know one of them right away. So it's kind of interesting. And, but once it leans more into the absurdity of it all, it definitely picks up pace. And I felt like if it had just gotten there a little bit quicker, I think the movie would have been a draw. So I think the runtime was 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think if this movie had been an hour and 50 minutes, it would have been great. It would have been much, I think, more enjoyable. But I liked it. And listen, here's the thing. Sam Rockwell, man, that guy, any movie he's in, any scenes he's ever in, that guy steals the show. And so for me, it's like, yeah, it's worth seeing for him alone. And there is some pretty absurd scenes in it where I'd be like, these are hilarious. So when it gets to the really over the top Matthew Vaughn type stuff, that's where it's like, this is like, I think if you don't get it, you might not like it. Like, if you don't like the church scene in in Kingsman, I don't think you'll like it. Not that it's violent like that, because that scene is so violent, but that scene is one of those where it's like very over the top and exaggerated. And so, like, if that's just not your thing, it's not your thing. Let's see what else is out there right now that I could see. Oh yeah, Dune is out, and it's playing in Dolby. Girl, I gotta go see that. I'll probably have to go. Oh, it's only at night. Maybe we'll go like Wednesday or something. Wednesday or Thursday, maybe. I still didn't see Wonka. That's still playing. Migration, I kind of want to see that. Poor Things. Yeah, I should see that. I heard Origin was great. Ugh, Aquaman. Who cares? Oh, Madam Web starts playing on Wednesday. I mean, that movie looks... I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I watch any Spider-Man movies. Oh, I didn't see Morbius, so I guess that's not true. Well, let me see what the showtimes are for tomorrow, then. Sugar, though, if that's playing, that's going to bump out the other stuff. Dang it. Because I bet previews for Madam Web are tomorrow night. No, I guess it's just playing on Wednesday, so... Yeah, it starts at like 1 p.m. 7 p.m.'s almost full. Dang it. Bob Marley also coming out on Wednesday. Okay, Dune will still be in the theater. Oh, it's not in the Dolby. Then what's the point? What is the point? I can still see Wonka, but it's in one of the crap theaters. God. Sorry, I'm like trying to... Now this is stressing me out. I'm like, oh, well, Past Lives is in there. I saw that already. Okay. Oh, Amelie. Oh, Katy Perry did have a good halftime show. I see that comment in here. No updates on my tattoo just yet, Lauren. I did talk to my tattoo artist because originally it was supposed to be on the first Saturday of this month. We were getting anything, but I was like, I'm not ready yet. But also, it was the MegaCon day. I had forgotten. I thought MegaCon. I don't know why I like had the date wrong because technically I had something to do and I thought it was end of January. Technically it's January 31st, but it wasn't really January. It's February, and I was like, but we did just talk about scheduling the next day. So no, Kim's saying I might be the only person interested in Madam Web. I am interested. It could be one of those things where it is unique, and I'm into it. I am hoping. Here's the thing about Madam Web. I am hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's fun and enjoyable. That's what I want from it. Yeah, so I don't know. I just want to see. I want to see. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the chat. Oh, baby, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Stop. Joe says, just watch Wish and the new Trolls. Thought Wish was good-ish. Loved the music, but wasn't a huge fan of the new animation style. But I hated the new Trolls, which was sad because I really loved the first two. Oh, I haven't seen them. I have not seen them. Hold on. I got a text message here. I see. Oh, they made it on the flight. Ross and Lana made it on the flight. I'm going to say thank you. So you'll see this when you watch the rest of the live. Have a good flight. Now they'll have a text while they're watching this and be like, remember that time he was texting this on the live thing? Wish them a good flight, everybody. Craig is giving me a live update while he is watching Maestro. He said, I'm just so confused. Like, it's a biopic or just vignettes of life because they still don't give a crap about him or any character in it. Like, was Oppenheimer just made so well in the same year that it pointed out flaws in other biopics? I think it just is like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't love it. I didn't love it. I'm interested in Man of One. I think I just worry whenever it's like a Sony movie. I don't know. I want to go into Madam Web with my own, like, okay, I watched the trailer, I'm going to watch the movie, and that'll be that. Like, I'm going to be optimistic. I have a feeling also because I feel like it could go either way. Like, I don't know that the trailer's given too much. You know what I mean? Like, I know some could say, like, oh no, but you know this and that. I think based on what I'm assuming I've seen in the trailer, I am assuming there's going to be a lot more to the movie than they're letting on. Like, I don't want to say a twist, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's going to have something more to it. And they've shown what they could show while like scooting around that. So that's why I'm kind of hopeful for that. So I'm looking forward to. You know what? I'm going to see it. I'm looking forward to it. So, I watched the first two episodes of, not the first two episodes. I've watched the 2 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm that have come out for season 12. I feel like Trey, you were in here and you were saying that, and there was a really funny scene in the first episode. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, Deadpool 3 is Marvel. It is Disney Marvel movie. It is not. It is not Sony, and I'm guessing it's still going to have the banner of being 20th century, and it is going to merge those universes together officially into the MCU so that it will create one cohesive timeline. So, which will be interesting. So I am guessing what they are saying is happening with this is, and this would be clever, is that all of the Fox, and other studio movies that they've acquired over the time, those are now canon to the MCU. So they do exist. And so that will be interesting, especially come time when there's another X-Men movie that needs to be made, because it wouldn't, I think that could open up a pretty interesting door for them, because it's hard when you have iconic people like Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier is phenomenal. And I love James McAvoy as the young Professor Xavier. And the fact that we got a movie with the 2 of them in it that was like a phenomenal X-Men movie, Days of Future Past, is great. And so it's kind of like, okay, and also saying like they are the same person. So now it's kind of like, okay, how do we move on or use different characters in the X-Men universe, in ways? And if you have not watched the Marvels, I'm not saying anything else, but watch The Marvels. The Marvels was good. I liked The Marvels, and I didn't like I didn't like I didn't love the first Captain Marvel. I shouldn't say I didn't like it. I just didn't love it. It was okay. It was like, but this one I really liked. That girl who plays Ms. Marvel is one of... Her casting is on the same level of Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Like, it is perfection. And they need to be using her through everything. Like, she is incredible. And the fact that she is a legitimate fan is also one of those things where I was like, lean into this. Lean into this. The Flurgan part with the midnight, I lost it in the movie theater with that, but yeah, I think I'll agree. Anna is saying in the chat, I really like the Marvels. I think they should have advertised it more as a Ms. Marvel movie, not a Captain Marvel sequel. I think that is true. I think they really, once we found out the name was the Marvels, I think they really should have leaned into it more being an ensemble piece. And I know they'll be like, oh, you watched the trailer, but I still feel like it did give the impression that it was a sequel to that. And I'm not saying it didn't deal with stuff Ms. Marvel had to deal with, but it dealt with stuff that they all did. Iman Vellani, that's it. I was going to call her Kamala Khan, and I'm like, that is her name that is her character's name. But yeah, I know they talk about superhero fatigue, and I see Rob Rambles in here saying he's getting tired of superhero movies. I think I'm getting tired of cash grab superhero movies. I don't want you to make it just to make it. I want you to make it because there's something to say. I think that's why I really like some of my favorites. Like I just really like Wakanda Wakanda Forever. I mean, yes, I liked Wakanda Forever, but I meant Black Panther, because it was very like it was like Shakespeare meshed with a Marvel movie, and it was like, what does it take to be a leader and a king and a good man, and how do you reconcile your past? But it had so much. There was so many things to it, so many layers to it, and it makes you like want to watch it more, and I think that's kind of one of those things where I think also, we're at a point where I think Marvel essentially was trying to go back to be like, well, we're going to lay the seeds again the same way we did in phase one. And it's like, well, no, you can't just stop and then do it all over again. We're already conditioned to be in, that phase four, phase five, phase six, like, we've earned it. So I think they're not leaning into it enough, like something like the Marvels or Thor Ragnarok, where we have like buddy cop superhero movies, or more of these. Not everything needs to be Avengers level, but I wanted to see more of like the existence of them beyond a cameo, of these characters like coming and going, and like the way that the Hulk works with Thor and Ragnarok. Like, I want more of like pairing up of that. Like, I'd love to see like Shang-Chi, employed I mean, Wong comes and get him. What's up with that? Where's that movie? And so I feel like the thing with those early phases is like there was no they were setting reality, right? Like they slowly introduced us, because it started with like Iron Man and Tony Stark, and it was like that was like technology based, and then like Thor kind of like not magic, because they were like, well, it is technology for them, but they were like easing the world into being like there's all these elements. So then Doctor Strange introduced like kind of introduced the magic and the fantastical element, and and then we got alternate reality, stuff like that. And it's kind of like they just tiptoe into it. They're not. We at this point, you need to look at a movie like Across the Spider-Verse, or I would argue Spider-Man 3, the No Way Home. Yeah, No Way Home. Sorry, I always have to do Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. We understood there's 3 Peter Parkers. We understood who Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker was and the story that came with him. So when he catches MJ, we're like, okay, like we get what that means to that character, and we're not. It's not beat into us. It's not blatant. It's kind of one of those where it trusts the audience to know that story. And it's the same with Tobey Maguire's. Like, we know that relationship with Doc Ock, and stuff. So like it has impact because you trusted us, and I feel like that's why we accepted that reality of these other Spider-Men that come into it. And that's the same way where Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, those work so well, is because we're not idiots, and we've loved these movies, and we've been watching them now for however many years. And it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those where I was like, you guys can lean into that. And it feels like they just keep teasing multiverse, all this stuff, and they're not delivering on it. And that's the problem. And I don't know if they're just afraid of the audience, but it's the thing, you're burning us out. And that's where it's like, I will tell you, Loki season 2, I finished that, and that had a really great ending. But I just, that's what I feel like. I feel like there was a thing where they trusted us, especially in that last like phase and right into Infinity War and Endgame. They trusted us, and it felt so rewarding. And then it was kind of like, okay, we don't know, we don't know the relationship with it was like weird. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I liked that too. Wakanda Forever, I like that. I like Shang-Chi. Like, so I like stuff from this new phase, but also like Guardians 3 had something to say. Like, Shang-Chi was this story, this unique story, and it had something to it, it had like layers in it. And it's some of these, I don't care what anybody says. If you like the Eternals, that's okay. I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I've got to rewatch it again. And I like the diversity, representation. I like some of that elements. Those things do not a good movie make. And I feel like that movie, they got a very specific type of filmmaker wanting her to make her type of film, and then they cut it into something else, and that is why it's not good. It's not that good. And if you like it, that is okay. That is okay. I'm not here to tell you otherwise or talk you out of it or anything like that. But and then they measure like that stuff on based on that. But I'm like, no, you kind of like you smushed too much in here and you took away the thing, and it was repetitive and it was slow, and it was just it wasn't I don't know. It was also like it kind of in a time where we were post Endgame. I didn't feel like it wasn't the right time to make that movie, and it wasn't the right time to basically make a movie that felt like it existed separate from everything else. Because that's my problem with it. It doesn't feel fluid with the other stuff. So I don't know. Thoughts of the rumors on Thor 5? I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I now that Iger says they're leaning into their pre-built franchises, which I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I think they should do it in a way like I'm saying. But that is the thing where we have a lot of unfinished storylines out there that I would still like to see go that lead us into new storylines, like how Guardians of the Galaxy, ends where the surprising thing is like, oh, we're gonna get Star-Lord again in something, but it won't be the same Guardians team, and we could see Guardians movies or Guardians spin-offs with these other characters, and I'd be okay with that. I'd watch that, and it felt like we earned it because we went into that, I just want more of that. I don't know. You know what, Anna? That's a great point. I think the Eternals, if they had maybe looked at it at its length and done it, I think you're right. Anna's saying that could have been a Disney Plus show. I think that in the best way possible, when they keep making these shows, but they're making them like they make movies, and they're making 6-hour movies, and I feel like that's why the shows aren't as good as the movies, because they're not the same type of storytelling. And so I feel like the thing about Eternals is like every episode could have been about each one of those characters, like backstory, and then it kind of all leads up to that big episode. And I think that would have actually felt better. I think you're right. I didn't see Godzilla -1 in the movie theater. I'm so mad about it. Jay, I am 100% there with you. I love She-Hulk. I thought it was hilarious. Like, I enjoyed it. Honestly, for me, the weakest episode I think is the last episode, but it's only because I feel like I wanted to see the stuff she talked about, but I really enjoyed it. And whatchamacallit, who plays her, is just so... She's another one of those people where I was like, that's a good that's good casting. So I hope they bring her back into other stuff. So, yeah. Ooh, and it's saying it could have been like Lost, dig into each person's... I love Lost. Okay, so we will... Tatiana Mazzolani, thank you very much. Moana 2. Here's the thing I feel about that. I don't think that's going to be very good. I'm not trying to be a naysayer or whatever, and maybe I'm wrong. Because this happened with Toy Story 2, was that Toy Story 2 was originally going to be a straight-to-video DVD release, and they saw what they were making, and they're like, you know what? Let's give this some more money. This is a pretty quality thing here. And so we got that movie, even though it's not my favorite. It's probably my least favorite of the Toy Story trilogy. The fourth one to me doesn't exist. And I feel like Moana could be like that, but it does also, because they were saying it originally was a show. That's also why she and The Rock are not signed on yet. And I don't know that she's going to sign on. Because I read in the trades, I read that she is much farther away from being signed on than he is. I am being hold on, sorry. Just send this text. That God. Sorry, I got a message. I'm just like dumb. Oh, actually. Okay. Anyway. I'll do this in a sec. Sorry, I have something I have to deal with in a little bit here, but yeah. I just, Lynn is not doing the music for it either, and you're telling me I don't think that's going to come out this year. I don't know why they announced it for this year. If they just wanted to boost up the thing, I think it's going to move, and I think something else is going to take its place. Also, can we talk about Inside Out 2 not really having anybody's voice in it except for Tina Fey and Sadness? Or not Tina Fey, Amy Poehler? It's not anybody. So it's not, oh my God, what is his name? From Barry. I'm not remembering names. You can tell when I start to get tired. From The Office, who was it? It's not Mindy Kaling, and it is not, I keep wanting to call him Barry because of Barry. And I'm just like, oh my God. Da, 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 da. Guys, you're going to say it before me. Bill Hader. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, they didn't want to pay them. That's what I heard. I heard that they got a ton of money and they were like, no. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks. Because I very clearly can hear the difference in the voice. And it also makes it feel a little icky. And I don't think I like that. So I'm like, I don't know. So I'm like, I don't know. I think they're going to make the daughter a lesbian too. Which is fine. But that's my, I'm thinking anxiety. I was watching, there was like something in New Preview, and I was like, I bet they're gonna make her a lesbian, but who knows? That's gonna be my like. We should put money on it. Well, we shouldn't bet on people's sexuality, but this is an animated character that somebody made up, so she ain't real. She ain't real. All right, gang. It has been a little over an hour now, an hour and 15 minutes. So I think I'm gonna call it, just so we don't run super long. But I just wanted to say thank you. I'll try and put out another video this week. I don't know what I was gonna do the drink video again or something like that, but maybe something else will come along. I told you all, and it's about creating the habit of like, I wanted to bring a camera. I want to carry my camera around with me and do like kind of like a little like, oh, this is my week. But then sometimes I think those are boring, but maybe it's just one of those things people are interested in. So I need to like just have that with me no matter what, because it's just one of those where I'm like, sometimes I'm like just going along and I'll be thinking about something and it's like a little musing, and I'll text it to my friend Kim sometimes and we'll get a conversation going back and forth about it. But I'm always like, I should have said that. I should have wrote it in a note, or I should have set it into a camera, because I think it would have been a fun thing to share for a chat. So I'll try and get better about that, I think. But yeah. I hope that you are all doing well and that you are going to have an amazing week. I am going to be positive energy. That's what I told myself. I was in a not pleasant mood when I woke up this morning or last evening, because I still let some stuff seep in and get to me. And you know what I think? Life is too short. And again, we release those things, release the stress, release the thing, and I like to, whenever now I'm trying to do, like, I know I posted something on Twitter about it, but I was like, I'll try to flip that negative and turn things into a positive. Not turn it into a positive, but think about being like, okay, so if this is the problem, let's talk about what the good things are in here. So it's like, okay, I hate this neighborhood where I live, but you know what? It's fun to be able to do this. And I like, no matter what, I lived here with my two little sweet angels, and this is where we lived. There's no, even if I moved tomorrow, this is where I lived most of their life with them. And so I was like, I will take that as a special little thing. So it's like one of those things where I was like, okay, even in the dark times, even when we think we're in hell, it's like the whole Harry Potter quote where you're like, in the darks, one simply has to look for the light. And it's one of those where I'm like, okay. It doesn't mean you shouldn't stay angry about stuff. It doesn't mean whatever. It's the way to keep it from permeating into your soul, from permeating to your bones, and warping you and changing you. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay. I just saw Kim Olsen say, very cool, Big D, big fan since 2007. I don't know what this Big D talk was. What are you guys talking about? Oh, Murray Bartlett. Okay. if you haven't watched Looking, you need to watch Looking. Murray Bartlett, that is what he was phenomenal in. He's great in that. That show two seasons in a movie, and it's only like 12 episodes, I think, each season. I don't know. I gotta rewatch that too. I actually want to own the physical copy of that though, because it's an HBO show and nobody trusts him. Anyway, I was just saying, like, that's my little fortune cookie of today. Is just about being like, you can stay angry about situations and upset about them, but it's kind of one of those where I was like, I want that to stay outside of me, and like, I want to do it in a way where it is like, use it for motivation, use it for whatever, use it for good, and it's like, you don't want to be the symbiotic Spider-Man because it's poison. It'll poison you. So it's like, how do you use it for good? I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's a question I ask myself every day. It's, if there is something upsetting you and it's continually upsetting you, let's pick apart this problem. Let's figure it out. Let's name 3 things about it and figure out if we can stop one of those 3 things, one at a time, and just like break it apart. And I like the other day I was kind of like upset because I'm like sitting, up here, and I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm overwhelmed with how everything is right now in my loft, and like how to make it functional for me. And and it's not even the problem of being like, oh, it's too much stuff. It's really about being like, I don't even know how to make it functional. And I mean in ways where I'm just like, I don't have anywhere to put like important papers. So I was realizing where I was like, God, I don't know where I've been putting my important papers. I mean, there is one of these IKEA square bins right next to me that I kind of like slide them into this one envelope, but it's one of those things where it's like, I was like, okay, that's a problem. I need to fix that, but it's kind of like one of those where I guess it goes back to like how I grew up, and there was like a drawer, everybody has that drunk drawer, and it's like, I don't have a junk drawer here, and I've made my life a junk drawer by accident because I don't have that organization. And so it's like, and the problem is like modern day organization, things like IKEA and Target and everything like that are all about these squares with the baskets in it, which is what I have up here everywhere. But that doesn't work for everything. It doesn't work for, I don't want a giant bin of just cables like that plug into things. That doesn't seem like a good idea. That's how we get tangled Christmas tree lights. So it's one of those where I'm like, okay, and then also the sizing of these squares sometimes is like, what if something's bigger than that? Where do I put a Megazord? Exactly. In the display case. But so it's one of those where I'm like, I think I not lack it, but it's just one of those where I was like, okay, I don't know how to literally be like, in a perfect world, I'd be like, okay, like these, okay? Like I talk about physical media and how important it is to me. And the one thing I want for sure, whenever I move into a place that is like, okay, this is mine, when I move into that basement, you know what I mean? When I get my basement someday, I was like, I want to build, first of all, so they're off the floor because basements flood. But it's one of those where I'm like, I want to build something that holds these exactly, and so they're like flat against a wall, and they take up so it's like stuff won't be in front of it. You can put stuff in between the shelves, but I want also each shelf to be the height of the case. So it's like in, out, like, you know what I mean? Like I want it to be as efficient as possible so it can be like bookshelves, like that go up, and it's just like, okay, the bookshelves clearly made towards Blu-rays and DVDs and things like that. And that way I can do like a floor to ceiling, and that way, do the little ladder, like something, I don't know. But, like that, and then be like, okay, so some knickknacks can go in between, but then also like all this stuff can find better homes so we can make shelves. And I was thinking like, in my mind lately, I've been seeing it as like, okay, so these like, not, maybe some parts are floor to ceiling. So let's say it's like, this one's floor to ceiling, and then this one's floor to ceiling, but in the between, it's just the bottom part, like just the bottom, like 2 or 3 shelves, and then there to the top, there'll be another shelf at the top, but it'll be open in the middle, and then those will also have shelves, but those shelves will be for, or like, that's why I want to do a movie poster. Like, so I'd put like this here, and then the shelf on top of that, or maybe around it, would be like the Funko Pops for Stranger Things, or, oh my God, guys, I don't know. I think I shared these with you forever ago, but as I was like going through stuff to be like, okay, what do I want to have to leave here to display? I got this at Target. This is hilarious. This is an example of where I clearly have some issues. This is the Little People, which is like the play school, whatever, right? Or sorry, Mattel. It's Fisher Price. It is Max's song, "You Belong Here with Me," and I think it's hilarious that there's like a Max floating, and they're all like, "Oh no!" But then there's this like hideous Vecna one. I couldn't not get this. It was like $20. I know, which is like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you getting stuff like that? But I'm like, this is, you don't understand. I love Stranger Things. I think this is the funniest thing ever. And it's one of those too where I was like, it even has a little Billy grave in there with like cassette. This is one of those where it's like, I guess this is meant to like live in its box. But I'm like, I want this on a display. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun stuff like this where you're like, that's cute. I don't know. It's really one of those. I think the hard part for that is daydreaming about a room that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? And the reality being like, okay, work with what you have, first of all. And then second of all, like, obviously, like, yeah, I want to do that someday. Oh yeah, I want to, but you know what I really want to do is do that thing where you're like, okay, if it's like a 4-bedroom, if you have one of those bedrooms or one of those rooms or like a flex room, but I want the doors to be like a bookcase, so it's like a secret room. So you kind of like, you don't, when you're in the house, you don't see it, and make that like the movie theater room or something like that. I don't know. Things I think would be really cool. I think people don't have enough fun with their living space sometimes, What does Building Disney say? An anger towards someone is an emotion that lives in you, not the people you're angry with. I don't know if it's because you're an animated character in here, but yeah. Trey saying, I just feel like being told to forgive and forget is dismissive towards how badly the person made me feel and hurt. And I agree with you. That's the thing. It's like, I think also maybe I'm from a generation that we weren't really taught. My family specifically, I'll say this about us, and I say it's my mom, so it's not like something we haven't talked about, is that especially my mom's side of the family. I mean, I don't really know a lot of people on my dad's side, but like, they hold grudges quite to the grave, and it is one of those where I was like, this is dumb. And there's been like, my grandmother has a grudge against her brother, and like, it's for like a pretty crap reason, and like, not her reasoning, it is for something crappy that happened. But there is a part where I'm like, it kind of sucks, in the end of the life, being like, you're gonna go to the grave with a little bit of anger in your heart, and it's like, I don't know, stuff like that where I'm like, I want to be able to forgive and move on. And I don't know, I don't know. Forgiveness is hard because I think I've personally just been surrounded by people, especially in the last couple of years, that it feels like, and maybe, so I am guilty of, I have the type of personality, oh God, I was trying to end this and now here we are in our therapy session. I'm ending this in 7 minutes, an hour and a half is enough. I am guilty of sort of like flinging. So the definitions of manners, I feel like I heard it said once, is that you treat people how you want to be treated. And so I try to always, hello, like I try to come in with that sort of like a positive energy. And when I get none of it back, I kind of start to be like, okay. And I become like rubber, it's one of those things where it's like, whatever you're throwing at me, you're going to get right back. So if you're an asshole to me, I'm probably going to be an asshole to you. And it might even be something where you weren't even consciously trying to be an asshole, but I will be like your enemy. Not your enemy. Like I just don't want to be your friend, and I feel like I don't want to be that person anymore. And I know that's a difficult thing to be, but I think I just would rather than just fling that energy back. I think I'd rather just learn how to move on. I think I'd rather move. I don't want to feel that tension in me anymore. I want to be happier again. I know I said a couple of weeks ago, I was emotional about like, I want to be loved and stuff like that. I I think I just want, like, I just am kind of, I'm not a joke. My life isn't a joke. And I feel like, I definitely suffer from, like, there's like an element of paranoia, not paranoia. I don't want to say paranoia, like, oh, paranoid, like, but there is that element of self-deprecation and sort of doubt and, lack of confidence that leads me to be a certain, like, way, like, but I think it's because of, like, that undiagnosed ADHD, like the hyperfixating on, it's like Psych. If anybody watched that show Psych, I feel like when you hyperfixate and you have, like, ADHD, I'm very sensitive to, like, I pick up a lot, like, out of people's body language, their tone, and I feel like I see a lot more about how people act versus what they say. And so when those two things start to drift and you say one thing but you do another thing, it starts to become one of those things like I can't reconcile that. And so, like, it's tough for me, and I don't want that. I don't want energy. I want to be, when I was younger, I definitely burned really hot. I definitely had really extreme emotions. And I definitely think a lot of that is, like, faded away at this point. I think having, like, Artie and Rocket in my life helped with that a lot, because I feel like that love is what that went to. And I just think I want to be accepting of people's truth. But if you tell me your truth that is a lie, what's the point? There's no reason to have that. You know what I mean? And so I like to have, I want to be that somebody who's, like, I'm less judgmental. And when I don't understand stuff, I find having a conversation for you to get me to understand that stuff, and that's fine. And I like what I like. I like Power Rangers, obviously. I like movies. I read and, books and Goosebumps. And, like, I love this nostalgia thing right now. I'm definitely caught in that. It helps me with anxiety and emotional stuff. And, and I understand a lot of people don't understand that, but I would happily include that in a conversation. And so I think it's just like, I want to try new things. I want to be open to more things. I want to, I try to be less closed-minded every day. I want to leave the people around me and the world a little bit of a better place than the one I came into it. And I think if everybody was like that, it would make it a little bit better. And if we all had that same mentality, and I don't want to shame anybody. And I, these are things that I'm always think, like, constantly, I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to release that anger, but figure out what causes this, the anger, sort of a thing, and be like, okay, how much of that is me, is my reaction to a situation versus how much of that is, like, this is kind of bullshit. So there's a couple of things in the last bit of my life that have been doing that. And and I'm fortunate to have a wonderful best friend who will talk back and forth with me at nauseum and help me with all of that. And, and sometimes she'll be like, and I'll be like, do you think I'm over, reacting or over, like, reading into this too much? And she'll be like, no, this is stupid. This is dumb, and it's like one of those things where, like, she means in terms of, like, you are correct to be, in fact, she'd be like, you are not angry enough, but she's kind of good about, I just don't like to make waves. I just want to laugh more. I want to love. I want to laugh. I want to love. I want to be that person my dogs think I am, I said it before, and it's just one of those things where I was like, I think you can only offer people that open door so many times. And I think for me, it's about learning how to close the door and maybe offer it, at some other point, somebody else or whatever. And I think that's what it is. It's trying to be, like, open to this thing, and then being like, when you're not getting what you need, if we're opening the windows to cool off the house, but it's 100 degrees outside and the house just keeps getting hotter, then there has to get to a point where you're like, this isn't working. You need to close those windows and figure something out. out, you know? Like, so it's kind of like one of those, like, if the door is open and the flies aren't leaving, then the door being open isn't working. You need to close the door because the flies are keep coming. So, Courtney, as word of the year is purge. I love that. I love that. Mine was release, so it's me like releasing this anger, releasing these things, you know, that caused me that, figuring it out, you know, just learning to let loose, you know, release, you know, all that. It's literally, mine is inspired by Beyonce. So she said, release your anger. I need to eat more sesame cake. You know what? I probably do. Anyway, if forgiveness was easy, it'd be called physics. Is physics easy? Yeah. So anyway, it's just one of those. I just feel like that's the thing I'm working with this week, you know, and so I hope, you know, we can check in on that sort of stuff. I don't have a solution. I don't have an answer. But you know what? Why I'm happy we did this again today? Because at the end of this, right now, when I'm stopping the stream, I feel better than I did when I started it, and better than I did earlier. So you guys definitely, you leave a little mark on me, you know, and in the best way possible. And so it's nice to do this. It's nice to have you guys in the chat. It's nice for those of you out there who are just tuning in. You do not have to leave comments. You do not have to be in the chat. I appreciate you. I'm so happy that you are out there. Thank you so much. You know, I'm just letting you know, it's the door for you is open. So if you want to leave a chat, if you want to leave a comment, however, whenever you need to do that, you please do it, you know. And so, but it is not a must for you to be here, you know. So I don't want you to think you are less than any of us, that you are less than this part of it, because it's nice to just have you out there, you know. And if it helps you, make you feel maybe less alone, or it gives you a little bit of company or happiness, that means the world to me. So thank you very much. Thank all of you, obviously, for being in this chat and chit-chatting today. I feel like we had a good conversation today. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for letting me work through that little bit at the end, too. I appreciate that. I know when people watch these videos on YouTube, they never get this far into them. That's why I'm like trying to shorten them just a little bit. But also because I'm always like, I got to do stuff after this. And then I don't. So, because it's like 10 o'clock. I'm going to have to walk my dogs again in like an hour. Artie's been having to go out like consistently 3 hours. He's been peeing a lot. He's just having accidents. And so, you know, he had the stones and then he had the surgery. And then it's this new pill, I think. It's causing him to drink like a ton of water. And I don't think he's used to drinking a ton of water. So it's just like, so I'm trying to make sure that water balloon don't pop, you know. So I never make him feel bad about it. I was like, oh my God, so sorry. Like, he does not tell me he needs to go to the bathroom is the only thing. So, so I try to pay attention to that. So, anyway, thanks everybody. I really appreciate you all, for being in here. Trey, you're probably not wrong. I need to find one of those rooms where you can just hit things with a baseball bat. Sometimes I'm like, maybe that'll help me get rid of the rage. It was a thing where I'm like, I just need to go into the woods with a baseball bat and hit a tree as hard as I can. Just feel that vibration in the middle. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I hope the week is off to a good start. I'll try and do something before next Monday. But let me just check my calendar here really quick so we can keep you all updated. The 19th, the 26th, I don't know. We might do like a really quick one of these on the 26th, like a 30-minute one or something like that, because I will be visiting my friend CJ in Austin. So, but maybe I'll have him like pop on with me or something like that. We'll see. If I don't do it on that Monday, I'll do it on the Tuesday. So that's the only one. But next Monday we should be good. We should be good to go. So I hope you all have a great night. What is this voice? Austin meet and greet. I don't know yet. I'm thinking if I did one, maybe it could be like Sunday afternoon somewhere. I'll have to ask. Let me see, because maybe I can be like, I'm going to go and we're going to sit in this one place and we'll be there for an hour and a half. Oh my gosh, a foot of snow in Massachusetts. Jeez Louise. I better call my mom. tomorrow. Make sure everybody's doing all right. So good luck to everybody who's facing any sort of storms or weather right now, whether you're getting all that rain on the West Coast or you're getting ready for blizzards here on the East Coast. You know, I appreciate, you know, appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with me. And I hope that you all stay safe, happy, and healthy. And I will see you all very soon. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Maybe Baseline Fridays on Friday.